Ever.
It's going to be interesting to watch this man, though, as he comes down. Greg Williamson. He qualified, went for this in 16th position. He's a man with a really good pedigree. He's already on the bottom, and look at the time. 6 seconds to the 4. So Williamson is looking good at the moment. He's pedaling his way back down. I love that pedaling onto the line. He just get absolutely maximum speed. Williamson is going to smash the time out of the house as he comes down into the arena area. It's going to be a big time gain. He goes through 7.753 to the good. He's on that hot seat. Well, that is some ride.
That is a big ride, but there's no surprise. He's got multiple top 10s here at the World Cup when it comes around here in Fort William. And his best finish at a World is 7th place. So he can step it up when it counts. So yes, coming down very early in the race, but stepping up. That is a big time from him. He's going to sit in that hot seat for a while, I would expect.
And taking a turn that was a couple of seconds faster than his initial qualifying run as well, so improved that time round as well. The runs on the way down. It's drying, the sun is coming out, the moisture has glued that track together. It's helped to bind all of that surface in. It's not worked to the benefit of Eric Ermisch of Germany at the moment. He's 10 seconds down at split number 4. He's still looking pretty smooth through here, and you can hear the landing. It's not sounding like he's absolutely thumping it down.
Yeah, Eric is really into the development of riders, helping YT building their race program. We don't always see him taking to the start line. He's got a lot of experience, great guy, and like I said, helping the next crop of riders, get onto this world stage.
Well, that experience, that transfer of knowledge is really critical. I mean, you mentioned Steve Pete earlier. Now, saw him up on the hillside very early on. That transfer of knowledge is coming through, and the riders from South Africa. I mean, you've got Greg now, but
and we've got Theo Erlandson on the screen. Unfortunately, he's not very receptive to transfer of knowledge.
Okay.
He kind of lives to the beat of his own drum. But he's really making a big name for himself. Popular man on the circuit. Not seeing a backflip from him today, but he was a man that backflipped a jump in a World Cup setting at Lenzerheide. Yeah, so he's really making a name for himself, being one of those wild sort of free races, Willie Will, that Brendan Fairclough made so famous. But great kid, incredible amount of talent. It's just tough to rein him in. He wants to do it all. He wants to do dark first. He wants to do hardline. And then he's here trying to perform against some of the best riders in the world.
Maybe that comment that you put down earlier about Hattie Hunter maybe wanting to focus on one discipline instead of being probably the best rider in the country for a long time, Swiss Army knife of cycling. That's I think that could be true of him. Maybe he just needs that focus, but you've got to enjoy your riding. If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of the new age of the sport. There are way more opportunities, there are way more disciplines. And speaking of opportunities, exciting rider to watch here. I've been following him on Instagram, Omni, and he's on that Finnish bike brand of Pole. They are also an exciting bike brand to watch. And one of my former teammates that put Finnish downhill racing on the map, Matti Lehikoinen. I've been texting him a lot. He's still an avid fan of the sport, a former World Cup winner, and he's had some great success here in Fort William. So this is the new crop of Finnish riders under sort of the mentorship of these guys.
And there's going to be a big cheer from him as he comes in good right here by the Finnish rider coming through, taking 8 spots, came over the line, 14.194 seconds down. He looks good. You just see Williamson still breathing hard there on the boat. It's been a little while since he finished, but shows you what effort's been put in. Now George Brannigan on his way down the slopes, qualified in 40th position. Would you have expected more from George?
Absolutely. I think everyone does, and you always do. It's just a tough, fickle sport. Sometimes you're nursing injuries. Sometimes it's nursing form. There's things about bikes and equipment you just don't know about. So George is one of the most exciting riders to watch. If you've seen some of his edits, you'll agree with me. But my word, if you haven't, always jumping things. He's got some of the craziest things I've ever seen done on a bike in the bike park of Queenstown down in New Zealand.
Well, it's only 3.4 seconds down, and knowing his propensity to take innovative lines, you've got a good chance that he's going to pull something out somewhere, but that's still a lot of time to pull back, and he's running out, of course, to do it, because the motorway, realistically, there's one line down there, as you head down. This is the only chance he's going to get to pull, I think, a little bit of time back, but I'd love to be proved wrong. Let's see how George goes on these lower slopes coming into award split number 4. Here he comes.
Yeah, so George Brannigan, someone that is so flashy on the bike, maybe just lacking a little bit of the form we used to see from him. He's had some injuries that haven't really helped, and he's just losing a little bit more time there. But Greg Williamson is so good here at Fort William. So that time, and there you can see, look at the rain falling at the finish. So this is going to affect track conditions, this is going to affect vision. This is going to be an interesting race if the rain keeps falling. It's not as bad as other tracks, but Greg came down and there was no rain.
Yeah, and that shows you just how fast the rain moves in. We're right on the side of the mountain here. We are literally on the side of the mountain, on the side of the lock, on the edge of the North Atlantic, and the wind and the weather blowing is going to make a big difference. Now, Joshua Arcus onto the course.
Yeah, and it certainly seems like the rain is not falling at the top yet, but there is some wind up there. So this weather pattern, is it moving up, or is it just going to move through this finish area and slow the motorway down? So, yeah, we've got a lot of question marks, and we've still got a lot of time till the top sort of 20 come down. The likes of Greg Menard is going to drop right near the end, about 22nd last. And then you've got to wait 30, 40, 50 minutes after that till the top sort of 5 drop down.
So Arcus on his way over, he's going to keep pushing here, all the way down to the line, going slightly on the drop-offs as well. 13 seconds nearly down, goes into 8th place here today, but only a very quick change in the weather. Well, at the moment the wind is blowing from the northeast here, and that means it's blowing from the front right-hand side of the rise across them on the hillside on the course overall, but that does mean that it is blowing into the face of the riders. It's going to make things a little bit more difficult on the top. It could slow the riders down on that exposed section, but it also means the weather it's coming in is going to be bouncing off the side of the mountain as it comes in and through. So this could be in for a while and showing a couple of breaks in the weather, but it definitely looks to me like Christopher Grice is definitely feeling the effect, and look at it coming bouncing back up off the track now.
Yeah, that's the most rain we've seen on course all week. And like you said, there's often a break in the weather. Next thing you're going to see the sun come out. You have 4 seasons within an hour and a half or whatever it may be. So it certainly will play a factor. Could this play into the hands of someone like Greg Menard? He's coming at a different time to some of those top riders. You know, there might be 40 minutes in between or an hour or whatever it may be. Weather can change.
Well, at the moment, the time here at the moment is 2:23. The weather forecast showed that we might get a gap around about 4 o'clock, and that might just come in for the later riders in that top 10. But there's one thing all the locals will tell you: the weather is what it is. Out the window, you can't predict it on any weather forecast. Round on the Highlands, I mean, we get caught out on the mountains here, climbing and riding. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted, but great to see the attitude here, whipping it up. He's giving everything a long, long way over that one. And Massey's a height, he almost nosedives out. So Kratis, Aris Zotos over Greece coming through. Lands it on the back wheel that time coming down. He's all over the place, but I tell you what, tell me he's got a big smile on his face coming down the hill.
Absolutely. The youngster did a full World Cup season in the junior category last year. So his first appearance at Elite World Champs, and he's doing it in style.
Oh, nicely done. He comes in and through, whipping it up on the way down, starting up at 23, nearly 24 seconds down on our leader, which is Williamson. Just a quick reminder of the time: 4 minutes 29.681. Now Thor Howling of Germany, another of our younger riders, only 21 years of age, just that little bit taller, long, rangy rider. And if you're a tall guy, does that make a big difference? I mean, for people who don't know, somebody like the go in Minar, he's not exactly short, let's face it.
No, he's definitely not one of the tallest riders in the paddock. Man, the rain is really coming down. I used to think so on a track like this. You needed to be sort of big, carry a little bit of weight. And then Troy Brosnan absolutely proved me wrong, and has 1 year before, and he's one of the shortest riders in the paddock. So it's horses for courses, but at the same time, that's what makes this sport so unique. You can win on any bike, you can come from any country, and you can certainly be built a lot different to another rider.
Well, I don't think Thor's going to be too pleased with that run. He would have wanted Farston to be up and challenging, but It's safely down for him in the conditions that are staying currently down. Now Douglas Vieira, the next rider in the start house from Brazil, a country that has been riding really strongly across lots of different mountain bike disciplines, and a different move by him down that left-hand side out from the gate there.
Yeah, definitely. Exciting rider to watch. I've been watching him in practice as well. He's a Brazilian national champ, but he lives in the UK Derby area, as far as I've been told. Does a lot of campaigning on the UK national circuit, so these conditions won't phase him. The weather shouldn't phase him. But it is starting to rain properly today. This is buckling down. This will slow down the course. This will slow down the rider, and it'll affect the vision as well.
And that is one of the key things here, isn't it? I mean, he may be regularly down around the Peak District, which is, big downhills, big gritstone, very similar conditions, but steeper, but shorter runs in the Peak. But notorious for the grit and the dirt that flies up in your face. Now, here's a man. When we talk about our youngsters coming along, this is a man who's an absolute legend. Nico Malala, 30 years old. That makes me feel old now.
Yeah, one of the unique riders on tour, considering he has designed this bike himself, gone through a bunch of different iterations, and it's so cool that he's just here on a bike that he's designed himself. And as well as that, he gives back so much to the downhill community, building tracks, putting on races. Man, he's a great, great character on the World Cup circuit.
A real ambassador for the sport, and really part of that mountain bike. There's so many riders actually putting stuff into the sport as well. But as you say, building trails and tracks.
And not to mention, he has got a silver medal as a junior rider. So let's not take away from the speed that he has and he's capable of.
Do you remember when he got that silver medal? It's a while ago, isn't it now? I don't want to do the maths. My maths is rubbish when it comes to going backwards.
Why? Because we're going to show our age, or
yeah, pretty
or
much. You are now older. For those that don't know, it's actually Andrew's birthday today. He's not quite 40 apparently. So happy birthday, mate!
Cheers, mate. What a better place to spend it than watching some incredible downhill. We're going to hand out some hardware later on this afternoon. I love World Champs. It's just such a special race.
It is such a special race, and it's a great place to race here in Fort William. If you're just joining us, we are now just about a third of the way through the race field. In terms of starters, 79 starters taking to the start today in the World Championship, the downhill discipline. The riders starting at the top of Anik Mor, the top by the gondola station on Anik Mor, dropping it down to Fort William 2.8k track, which has 555 metres of elevation as you drop down. Average gradient 11%, 20% in the steepest slopes, but it feels a lot more than that when you're riding or walking down the steepest sections. The riders' times, well, at the moment, the fastest time at 4:29 at the moment on track. It is Oliver Davis from Australia, currently sitting in fourth place on the time split, going through split number 4. So he's in touch with the leaders despite the conditions which have changed. We started in the sun and we are now in the pouring rain.
We absolutely are. How is this going to affect the race as we get into the pointy end of the field? Ollie Davies on the Union team, a development team, so cool to see, run by Steel City Media. And it's just so cool to see all these riders from different countries here on the world stage. That's a tough one. You have not seen the course in those conditions. I certainly hope that they've taken tear-offs and even roll-offs, which is a clear sort of film that you take across that comes from the motocross industry. So if it's really buckling down, you're going to be doing a lot of those rolls.
And that's what the goggles that they're wearing. So basically it's a way of cleaning and putting a new layer onto the face of the glass. So you take a dirty one off, another dirty one off, and I tell you something, this man has got vision. Maybe you can see through the rain like it's not even there. So Angel Suarez Alonso on his way down here. He was 15th in qualifying, so he showed that he knows this track. He's up.
Yeah, new bike, new team for him, developing that Uno bike. It is incredible to see it back to his old self. So it is clear that this time can get beat even though the conditions are changing, and he's going to do it.
What a ride, 0.470. He comes down an average speed of 37.7 kph. He wants it, but he deserves it. What a ride here today on the course at Fort William. He goes into top spot. He is quicker by 0.470. Now, Jackson Conley is going to have his work cut out. The Australian following down the course. He's chasing that time now, set by Angel Suarez Alonso, who put the fastest time in at the finish line so far. You can just see that rain is continuing down. You can hear the rain and the wind on the microphones out on the course. And as it comes onto this motorway sections, this is where we're going to see the course is coming into its own, because it's going to be draining the water off the course to try and stop the effects of it. But you can see it bouncing back up in the middle of these dips, and there is now starting to be a rooster tail coming off the back wheel of that bike as he goes down. Just watch him over this jump, still keeping it smooth though. He's committed to this. He's on a good run. It's not going to be quick enough for a top spot, but I think he's going to be pleased with this after his qualifying.
Nothing like coming to your first World Champs, and then you get to the top of the track, and then it starts buckling down.